evaluations or thoughts about your offensive performances today?
I went offense, defense as a team performance. I don't look at offense now. I look at it both. I think offensively started off really good. Had a chance to make a couple. I thought we could have had a couple touchdown catches the first 2 drives. Should have made plays and didn't. But we moved the ball very well. Scored a touchdown with Max. Then got a little lull, but picked up. The defense made some nice plays on some third downs. And hated we lost 3. I hated Noah Thomas because Noah's had he was our MVP. It was a shame he got hurt because he was playing his tail off. He's going to be a real weapon. I was wanting everybody to have a chance to really see him today. It was a shame he didn't get to play. He's had an outstanding spring. I mean, an outstanding spring. Like I say, he won our MVP. He's been our most consistent guy. But with some of the linemen that did quarterbacks, I thought at times he played some really good. He did some good things, threw some balls away, made a couple mistakes on some checks, but then checked and ran. And I thought made some checks in the run game. Did a really good job. Thought 8 was really running good and got nicked up. He got banged. We just didn't want to keep going, but I thought he ran the ball really early. I wish he could have kept going because he had some really big plays. I think he was averaging about 6 yards a carry there for about 5 or 6 carries. Maybe I'm off, but that's what I'm just off the top of my head if I remember right. He had a couple of really nice plays and runs. 4 had some good ones. 2 had some good ones. I thought 1 made some really good plays. Caught a couple of deep balls. And what we did, I think Max Johnson caught a couple balls up front. Thought 54 played well. 64 did a pretty good job. I thought he was well. Unfortunately, we lost 2 guys this week. One with a guy fell into him, a sprained knee, and the other with a helmet busted Aki across the nose and gave him stitches in his nose. He couldn't play. He had a scar. He got a big scar on his nose because he couldn't play because of stitches. We lost him, so we had to play with the lineman like we did, but we'll be fine in that situation. Happened in practice, I think Tuesday. I can't remember which day it was. But could be more consistent. Had a couple turnovers. What we didn't see a hard corner one time. 15 didn't see a hard corner on an out route. We could have thrown it in the hole and made a play, tried to stick one in there. Max late on one. I thought on the collision, I thought we could have got under that. I thought he threw the ball right. He just went up the field too much. But we'll look at the film and see. Some solid thing. Defensively, I thought we played good up front. Made some nice plays. Backers fit. The young backers, 27 and 21, really, I'm telling you, them guys are going to be good players. They picked things up, played well, done well. The front guys, you had a bunch of good D linemen, and you were rotating those guys, so they were fresh. I thought they did a real good job in some of the run stuff, created some pressure as the game went on in what we did. And then got some interior pressure, too. And that was without McKinley being in there. We kept him out and some of the things we did. So, got a lot of work to do, have a chance to be a good football team. Just got to continue to grind and build on what we're building on.
Out front, Brent.
What was Noah Thomas's specific injury?
He got dinged in the head. They say he got dinged up. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's nobody that won't be there in the fall or won't be ready for summer workouts or just got dinged in things in spring and all that stuff again.
And specifically your quarterbacks, Max and Connor, in terms of evaluating them, and do you expect that to be a battle into August?
Guys they're two competitors. They're always going to keep battling each other and playing. It's glad you got 2 guys that are capable and made plays like that at times and what we need to do. And both of them came and shined. And I like for them to have a little failure like that so we can see how they battle back. And both of them came back and played well after you had some mistakes and had some things going. That's part of the game. And I think both showed a lot of maturity that way. So I'll wait till I watch the film a little bit, and we'll meet again. I can meet next week and give you an evaluation or whatever we want. It don't matter to me.
Front right.
Coach, naturally you want to see your star players be able to step up, but in a game like today, you had Fernando and you had Micah make a couple of big-time plays. Just what have they meant to you in the spring, and especially a guy like Micah who's just so young, still.
Well, I understand that. Micah and it was afraid because Cottrell did the same. Cottrell had a really good. Both those guys. He got dinged, caught like a little kidney shot, like right there on the. I don't know, if it was a hip pointer or a kidney. He got one right there. He caught a really 11. But Micah, those guys, I've been extremely pleased. Not only their ability, but their physical. They go in and block and do things I think will be special teams players. Those guys will have really come on, in my opinion, and made a big surge. And being here early, you'll see that in camp because all this learning now, when they get to camp, it'll be and then get through a summer, it'll really benefit those guys. Those guys are good players now. They'll help us and we'll be able to contribute and play, I think, really early in what we're trying to do. So, and then you didn't have Moose out there today. So, that good. I'm really happy with what we got there at receiver. I've been pleased. But we still need a little bit. We can still add a little more depth. Hopefully we'll get in the portal. Maybe we can find a couple guys that can really help and get in that rotation and be able to play. And, that comes up in all positions. You need them across the board. You need a couple guys here and there. But we have enough. But you're only as good as your 2s. A football team is only as good as its 2s. I don't care what you say. And that's at any team I've ever had. I've always believed that since the day I was born. That was drilled in my head as old coaches, and I believe that. Because your great players are great, but when they go down, your 2s have to be ready to play. So that's where I think we're building a lot of depth and happy about where we're getting to.
And then Damani had mentioned earlier last week that Bryce Anderson had been the talk of the spring, and now he gets named the defensive MVP. Where have you seen him really grow more than just in coverage?
Just he can blitz, he can tackle, he can play special teams. I mean, we've got him on return game. Bryce is a very talented guy. He and Shamar were the MVPs on defense. And, I mean, those guys, like Shamar, he can be inside, outside, and be moved around, play nose, play 3, play 2, play 5, play the 6 or 7. I mean, and same way with Bryce. Bryce can play nickel. He can play dime. He can play back at safety. If he had to, Bryce could be a corner. Bryce can run. I mean, he can really run. And he's got really good ball skills, and he's a good return guy. We got him back. He'll catch punts and kickoffs, too, and be very comfortable with him doing those things, too. So, I mean, I just – and I'm going to tell you about Bryce every day. Comes to play football every day. I mean, loves football. Smile on his face. The longer he's on the practice field, the more he smiles. I mean, he just loves to play football, and that's what you like to see.
Third row on the left.
Jimbo, how far do you anticipate your quarterback competition lasting? Do you feel like it'll go into the preseason camp?
No, dude, it's going to be competition all the time, every week, all the way till the end of next year. You ain't. Every position's going to be that way. If you don't practice in the game, I tell you, you see the story in Oklahoma softball, women's softball. Those guys have battles for the positions during the week. They won 3 national champions. They swap out guys. Guys get beat out weekly. I mean, you want competition every day and guys you feel comfortable with. So say name a starting quarterback today. What does that mean? Nothing. If you don't go in fall camp and do anything, and that doesn't play well, doesn't matter. You know what I mean? And that's at every position. Competition is the name of the game. Competition is great. If you don't like competition, you shouldn't play sports. So you got to compete for your job every day. And I think we have 2 very capable guys. And I'm excited about both guys. And both guys got some work to do, but man, both guys can be really good players.
And one guy I want to ask you about, Walter Nolan. It seems like he dropped a lot of weight since last season. I think it was.
He did, don't you see? That's the way he played last year.
Yeah. Well,
he played the same weight he did last year. I mean, he came in and lost a bunch of weight out before he came in, and got down. And he's really athletic and strong in movement. And I think he'll put on 8 or 10 more gradually as it goes on. But man, that's why he was most improved. His ability to play inside and outside and generate pass rush is that quick, powerful, twitchy guy. And I think if he puts on 8 or 10 more pounds, he can become a terror. And he is right now. I mean, and I think that'll happen as it goes. But he did that. He's been like that. Guys played last year like that. He wasn't big and heavy last year.
Anything else? We got some players.
I need to do what he did. That's what I need. I need to eat what he ate. Do what he did.
Back far right, we'll wrap us up. Then we'll get the players ready.
You got quiet today. You ain't got much.
Was there anyone who jumped out to you who maybe in the twos, once you kind of integrated some of the ones, twos playing together, who,
Because I was very happy with Micah and some of those young guys making play. And going out there, and I mean, you got to understand something. That's also the first time they've walked in that stadium. We haven't scrimmaged in there yet. I mean, even during the Saturdays, sometimes you get in there, and the first time you walk in the stadium like that, man, if you don't think your nerves are going, your stomach's going, and that's a big deal, you're crazy. That's one of the things. I mean, because usually you have 2 scrimmages in there. We didn't even do that because of, the fields we had over here and where they were working on things. So, I mean, even like Jaden Platt getting there. I mean, Le'Veon Moss finally getting some stuff. The young quarterbacks, the young linemen. I mean, Basantis. Basantis is going to be a phenomenal player. Phenomenal player, man. That guy, him, Nate Boo. The way Nate Boo, Dewberry, those young players, Remington. I mean, those guys go interchanging at center and the snaps, and just very comfortable. Played really. I like what they saw. And then on defense, see Dindy coming on, you see Walter coming on, Stewart, and it was good. Sela had been banged up. It was good. You saw him get some flash pass rush and get up on the edge. Enid's a little banged up. He had some too. He had a couple, and he's even banged up a little bit, fighting through spring, which I'm learning those guys. That's what I was talking about. You got to learn to grind through that stuff. The 2 young linebackers. I keep saying it. 2 young linebackers have played 21, and those guys have done a really good job, guys. I'm telling you, done a really good job. I don't want to miss somebody without. I don't mean to miss thinking. I wish I had that list in front of me. Yeah. Young lineman Tomlinson. Getting there and playing left tackle from the day and been through all spring and going out there in that stadium. Who else is that good? Shanahan, because he wasn't out there, but been good in the meetings. I'm trying to think. Nobody I'm disappointed in. You know what I mean? You got to stay healthy. And then those young guys too. Reuben Owens. You saw him make some really good runs and catches. Got nicked up, and that's for some of those guys, not just him, but some of those guys too got to learn. When you get nicked and knacked, got to go play. And I think you got to learn those young guys learning to grind through that and put them through that grind. I wish it was like the old days. You had 30 practices and 30 full pads. That's the way it used to be. And you had 30 days of spring, and they were all full pads. And that body's got to get calloused, and that mind's got to get calloused, especially in this league.
All right, Brent, you'll wrap us up.
How
Does a guy like
Gotta be a
Bryce?
good, if it's the last question, it's gonna be a good question. I don't need no
for you, so we'll
no
decide.
Houston Chronicle question. Give me a question. Give me a Tex Ags question. It's a better question, all right? I don't need no Houston Chronicle. I need a Tex Ags question. Good
Let me
question.
ask you about a guy who you would like to have had for 30.
And
Bryce
Sports
Foster.
Illustrated is just as bad. Sports Illustrated, that ain't a good one either now. That ain't a good one either. That used to be the golden standard. Daggum.
Bryce Foster.
That used to be the golden standard. Yeah, wait a minute, y'all give me flack. I can't give you flack. Daggum. y'all can't take it. Look at it. They get personal. Look at that.
All right, so what's wrong with that side then?
All right, what you got?
All right, Bryce Foster. How much does he miss out? I know you encourage the two-sport thing.
It
but
does. I mean,
effective.
usually, and he's a weird one as far as every other two-sport guy, the guys have played. He's the only two-sport guy I've ever had that doesn't do both. I mean, like Jameis never missed a practice. Jalen Ramsey, long jump, never missed practice. Taiwan Easton played baseball, never missed a practice. I mean, the Chain did some, and that was I should have got more out of it. And I don't mean that, but the rest of the guys don't, and that's a shame because Bryce does miss. It does the timing, the rhythm, especially. I mean, it's like your quarterback. That's your center's your quarterback, making all the calls, the snaps, the rhythm with the quarterback. It does hurt you. I mean, but it's a fact because taking a chance on his hands and stuff, getting stoved up and beat up. I understand that, and there's no problem with it. But does it hurt? Yeah, it does. I mean, you wish it wasn't, but listen, he's very talented in that, and he does it great, and he's one of the best in the business and one in the country. So I would never stand in that. Do I wish I had him? Yeah, wish he could do both. But all the other guys I've ever had, the track guys and the baseball guys, very rarely missed any football.
Going into the offseason, maybe the single biggest thing, I know that's a wide open question, that you need to work on going into training.
I think building depth on stuff. I think building getting your youngsters, the young guys that you're really going to have to count on. I think the up front, as crazy as it sounds, even though we're short in numbers and we need bodies, I'm not worried depth-wise very much, especially O-line, D-line, a lot of those situated running backs. I think we'll be in great. I mean, hopefully there's some other things. We can add a couple little things in the portal, which I think we will. I like our group in that regard. I just think we got to stay toughness. I mean, and I mean this not from. I'm not calling them we aren't tough, but I mean grinding through a lot of little things that will allow us. Because in this league, every game you saw, even last year, 5-7, we were one play from winning all the games. You know what I'm saying? You're one play in all those games. I mean, learning to find that mental toughness, and I think we have to do that in a unity. And that's from having a chip on your shoulder and pushing through things. And I think the skill levels of being disciplined, the attention to detail from everything you do as a player is going to make a difference. And these guys want to, and they will. And as you get older, and there's going to be, and these young guys, even though we're an experienced team, like say we have 80-some% of our production back. I mean, we didn't lose anybody that played. You know what I'm saying? So, but understanding the difference of playing and getting production and playing at a championship level, and it's close, but all those little details and all those little things and making sure we understand them, and they hold each other accountable. Not me, not the coaches, but they hold each other accountable for all those little things that happen. And I think it will. Because one thing about spring, this whole spring, and one thing I've been the most happy about is the energy in practice and the attitude of the guys to be coached and allowed that like I said, Bryce, the more you practice, the happier he was. The young guys. I mean, there's a group of guys that like to play football. Shamar Turner would play 28 hours a day. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Noah Thomas would play 28 hours a day. Connor, Max, those guys, they would all play 20. I mean, and I think there's a great group of those guys, and just getting through that and being very detail-oriented, and I think we have a chance to have a good football team. But we'll see. We'll have to get there.
Thanks for your time.